Sean Deveron, get the tables. We're about to put some bills through them. Or are we? That's what we'll discuss next.
First of all, how you gonna say my whole government name, bro?
It's okay.
What if I got warrants and shit?
Well, they already know who you are before I did. Big Brother's watching.
Feels the police.
Let's go.
I'm just a content cop. Anyway, now we've gone completely off topic. We're going to talk to our boy over from Bills, Bets, and Beers about the upcoming Week 3 matchup with your Washington Commanders and the Buffalo Bills. Next, drop that beat.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Like Phil said, that was Phil on the intro. I'm Steve. Dev's down below. This is Commandus. Thank you for joining us for another episode of our show. This is our Thursday bi-weekly live stream where we're doing our game preview of the matchup on Sunday versus Bills Mafia. And to do that, we have a friend of the show coming on. Let's welcome Mr. Chad Cooper from Bills, Bets, and Beers. Chad, thank you, sir. How are you doing this fine Thursday evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. Got the kids to bed like 10 minutes before the show. Got everything set up, cleaned up the house a little bit so the wife won't be as mad when she gets home. I had a couple beers, so,
Smart man.
Happy and clean.
You got to pick and choose your battles wisely, man. That's how it goes, right? when you do this content creator thing, it's definitely challenging, and we thank our families for allowing us to do this. I have three of my own.
The woes of part-time content creator living. You still have a life outside of it.
Might as well be full time. Man. All right, so let's just jump right into the show, Chad. As the comments come in, we will hop along here. But since you are our honored guest, we are going to put you in the middle, in the spotlight, and we're just going to talk, man. So you are a Bills fan, which is pretty cool. I've always had a semi-soft spot for the Bills. I think they're a good franchise, very well run. Had some up years, had some down years. We know about the down years down here. We played you guys. That's right. We played you guys in the Super Bowl 1990, the 91 season. 37-24. So we have a little bit of history with the Bills. I think that was the streak where you guys went four in a row during that span of time.
The tail end, but I was just like a 1 year old. So
yeah, that's cool. Well, that's a great segue. So everyone who comes on the show, no matter what, we always want to get an idea of their fan story. So what how did you become a fan of the Buffalo Bills? The team that you cover, the team that you love, and so passionate about.
Yeah, it's cheesy to say, but I was born into it. My dad was a Bills fan, so I got a picture when I was a kid of me in a Raiders hat, but I think that was just because I had one. But I've always followed the Bills. Obviously, as a little kid, you watch it, but you're not like. And at that point, my dad had been a fan for so long that even in my teens, if they started just getting down by like 2 scores, if my dad's the same with the Yankees, they get down by like 4 runs, he just he just changes the channel to something else because he's like, I've watched this show too many times. I know how it ends. On to the next thing, He's just like, yeah. So that's how he was. I'm a little bit. I think Bills could be losing like 30-6, and I'll still watch the stupid game till the end. I should. It's just gonna make me more mad, but I just watch it to see if there's anything positive.
That's fair. And to be honest, you're a New York guy. Are you a New York guy, like to the bone? New York sports altogether?
I'm in Central New York too, so it's like more Bills, more towards the Bills area. I think really outside of Long Island and like maybe like the outskirts of New York down there. I think after that, most of them are Bills fans in New York.
Yeah.
I know like New York is, it's not. I don't know why it's a destination spot for some people, but a lot of people come up here, and you got tons of fans around here. You got Washington fans. I mean, my buddy's a Bengals fan. Everything like that. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the big part where I really started following, I think it was like towards the end of high school. I looked it up because I wanted to make sure the year was like 2008. The Bills started out good. They're like 3-0. They went 4-0. They lost one. They're 5-1. And I'm like, oh man, this could be the year, you know? We could possibly get to the playoffs, get some playoff time. And then we ended up going 7-9.
2008. Who was the quarterback that year?
I think it was Trent Edwards.
Trent Edwards. Okay.
Yeah, we had a good little team. We had Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
That's when Jackson was really good.
That's right.
You know, we were doing good things. The thing is, the Bills' defense always was pretty stout enough, but the offense just never could get things done. So the defense eventually wrote it out. So it's like,
I remember the quarterbacks over the year, you know, Ryan Fitzpatrick, JP Losman. I'm trying to remember who else. I mean, these are all post Jim Kelly years, but they struggled.
Yeah. And then I thought we were good with, like, I liked Tyrod Taylor for a while, but he definitely, I was like, I saw the limitations. I'm like, he's just too short to play. You can't too short to play the position, but he was just, you get towered by the offensive lineman, and it's like you can't see over them anymore.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tyrod fan, by the way. I like Virginia Tech guys. I'm a huge Tyrod fan. I wish it had worked out well for him. But,
but you know, went a different route, and Nathan Peterman threw 5 picks, and then Josh Allen came in. So
EJ Manuel, right? EJ Manuel, was he a Bill? Yeah, he's a Bills. He's a Bills guy.
That was a waste of a pick, to be honest. You know, same thing with Law. You know, things happen. People make this.
Flutie was a Bill, wasn't he? Doug Flutie. Yeah.
Late 2000s, those.
Yeah.
Well, late 90s.
You gonna say something, Phil?
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, Flutie could have finished out his career as a total legend in Buffalo, and then they just decided that for some reason Ron Johnson was going to be the guy.
Decision.
Which I didn't understand then, and I don't understand now.
Yeah. Our buddy Yam in Japan, checking in all the way from Japan, says, morning, gents. Heading to class about 10 minutes, but stopping by for a few. Thank you for watching, Yam, as always. I know last time you didn't have class and you were able to hang with us, so maybe you can get it canceled again and come back and chill with us if you get some time.
F them kids, Yam. Come watch us.
Yeah, that was Ryan Elias at F them kids last
time.
Right?
F them kids, bro.
Our buddy Yam is a teacher. He teaches over in Japan.
That's really cool. I was over there for a couple of years because I was in shit like that. So
very cool. So second thing we have for you. So let's talk about the 2023 Bills. You know, where were they last year? Where are they now? Who are the Bills? What is their identity? Where do you see them as a, you know, not drilling down individually yet, but as a team writ large, you know, offense, units, management, fan base? Where are the Bills? Where were they and where are they now?
It's hard to we were last year. I would say that'd be the best team that we had, you know, since obviously the Super Bowl eras. But to be honest, it's like I think this year it's even better. Like last year we had so many weird things hit all towards the end of the year, and it's just I'm not sure if it weighed on the players or something. That snowstorm that killed they killed at least 20 people. Buried in snow and stuck in cars and stuff. And then you had the shooting, and then you had you had the guy almost die in the field. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there was so much stuff happening to the players. I'm not blaming it on that. I just think eventually wore on them. But it's because I was I'm a season ticket holder, so I went to all his playoff games. I was at that Bengals game, and I was like, it's weird. You walk in, you went to tailgate. It was 32 degrees, perfect. You didn't have to layer up for tailgating. It was perfect weather, and you drank your beers. And when you walked in, it started coming down a little heavier to snow. It was perfect for a Bills playoff game, and then they just came out dead. It seemed like I don't know. So I think this year, I think they're a better team. I think they improved because they added Leonard Floyd on the defense. They added Kincaid to the offense. They boosted their O-line a little bit, not drastically, but they added a couple pieces here and there. And then people started kind of stepping up so far anyways. Like with Spencer Brown last week, he played really good. I mean, against the top-rated DE. So it's I see this team doing better this year than last year. I see us getting over. I think we can get over that hump and get to the AFC Championship game again. And I think depending on how we're playing and injuries and whatnot, I think we can get in. I think this could be the Super Bowl, like at least getting in. But it all depends how we play in the postseason. We played great I have to see how we play because last year when we lost the Bengals, I basically dropped the Bills back behind Cincy and the Chiefs in the postseason because we have to prove we can beat them just like with KC. We have to prove we can beat them in the postseason, and we have to prove now we can get past the Bengals in the postseason. Yeah, they're having a rough start this year with the Bengals, but last year they had the same thing, 0-2, and they came back. So you know what I mean? It's like it's tough, but the Bills now they have become more of like an actual balanced offense and a balanced team. Their defense is better at stopping the run. They fixed that floodgate, at least so far that we've seen. And now they have a better run game. We have a running back go for over 100 yards and run actually more than Josh Allen. It's a start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was against the Raiders, but it's a start in the right direction. Right. I think Ken Dorsey's starting to do better play calling with having with actually being able to do 12 personnel. So it's like, I think it's going to open up our offense and it's just going to give us that extra oomph where Josh Allen doesn't have to always be the hero every game.
I will say that the playoff game you guys had versus Chiefs, which eventually ended up changing NFL rules, for overtime and making sure hands down to me, one of the most exciting playoff games I've ever witnessed. That was
the demoralizing game I think I've watched.
I know for you guys, but as a fan who had no vested interest, no stake, it was just such good football to watch. I mean, it was just so exciting. That's what you want to see as a fan for football. Were you saying that?
I would think wide right would be probably the worst.
Oh, you mean Scott Norwood?
Yeah,
I personally didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're on like 12. I forgot.
That should have been the Super Bowl.
What was I thinking?
I do remember that game. That's the worst part.
15 seconds left. You expect a team to score after that.
Yeah.
The K-Gun offense was dope, though. I remember playing with them in Tecmo Bowl, man.
Yeah. Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and
we're all
Don
old
Beebe, Mark Kelso. Yeah, we're on the old side. We're in our 40s, but
Steve Tasker.
Yep. Of course, we had a little bit of we had some Bruce Smith love here in DC. He stopped by here on his retirement tour to get paid and before he went to the sunset. But the Bills had some very good teams over the years.
I remember the comeback against the Oilers, bro. Man,
watching that game tue. See, like I said, I
remember live.
You can watch it on YouTube now, but it was different when you watch that kind of stuff live. And there is, I think, from one franchise to another, in which we had dynasties that overlapped. Like there is a little bit of that respect factor that comes with that. I have a two-sided question for you here, talking about the 2023 Bills. What is one aspect of the team that has pleasantly surprised you? And what do you think is still the team's biggest weakness?
I think the one thing that pleasantly surprised me, even though I love having the run game, is the run defense. At least for this, because the schedule the Bills face this year is hard enough, but we're facing more run-heavy teams. I mean, even though the Jets lost Aaron Rodgers, you still have two monster backs in the backfield. I mean, then you're going to have to face Philly. You're going to have to face Dallas. You're going to even Washington. You guys have a good run game too. We're facing teams that have a better run games that are going to use those more than the pass game. I think that's what I'm more pleasantly surprised this year. Because if we couldn't fix that, that's what killed us in the playoffs last year. If we could have stopped Mixon on some of those runs, it would have given a chance to have the offense on the field and not have the defense gassed. So I think personally that's what's better for me. So, what I think we're still lacking, I need to see the O-line gel better. They had a good thing going against the Raiders, but I think that was only with Crosby there. If you added Chandler Jones in there, that might have been a different story. So that they had the option just to throw a tight end or whatever tight end was on the other side with Crosby on it. They could just have him be an extra blocker there for him. So they had the luxury of that, where you can just double that one guy, not worry about not that you can't worry about the rest, but it's less worrisome than having two defensive ends that can actually come at you. So when it comes to teams that have like your guys' defense is really stout and young, when it comes to something like that where you have speed and strength, it's going to be it's interesting to see the schemes they're going to take at it. Right. That's what I'm going to see how they play, because Spencer Brown played great against Crosby by himself most of the time. So
yeah,
it's good to see that growth, but I'm still like to see a little bit more from that personally.
Real quick in the chat, we got our boy Marcus Edlin. Thank you for tuning in. It said, "What's up, family? Nice to meet you, Chad." Please go check out Marcus's Facebook group, Sports View 2 on Facebook, if you haven't already done so already. Marcus is always sharing the good Washington content. And going back to along the team this year, Chad, let me get this comment down here. So the Bills right now, their offense is ranked 8th in points scored. That's 54. And then the defense is ranked 5th in points allowed. So a lot of times people talk about yardage. To me, it's about points. How many points you score? How many points have you given up? So they've scored 54, given up 32. That's good enough for 8th and the 5th total in total yardage. Excuse me, in total points allowed. And in the inverse, Washington, even though we feel like they've played two really good games, it's not really the same. So the offense is ranked 7th in points for, which is really just right above you guys in 55. Yeah. And our defense have given up 49,
Arizona,
which is the 17th. Yeah, which is kind of scary because we played Arizona Broncos and we scored 55, but we also gave 49. So that's just a little bit of context when we're talking about the Bills in general. It's hard to use these stats because it's only been 2 games.
Exactly.
Teams are still figuring it out. As you said before, Josh Allen had a rough start on that first game 1, and then what does he do in game 2? He comes back and he just destroys. He comes back to the Josh Allen that we all know, and some of us love, some of us don't. I love Josh Allen, but
yeah,
not everyone does. So.
You like for the highlights when he's not playing you.
Yeah.
I like when he's scoring points for my fantasy team. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I have him on 2 fantasy teams, by the way. So you guys you lost to the Jets in overtime in game 1 of the season. That was versus an injured Aaron Rodgers. Were down the first series. It was 22-16. Came back the next week, beat the Raiders, just trounced them 38-10. Shout out to our boy Rod, 38-10. And now you're coming to DC to play the Washington Commanders. Now, as of right now, there's a giant, I don't think if it's a hurricane or what it is, but it's making its way up the coast right now.
It's a hurricane.
There's potential that it could possibly be here Sunday. We don't know for sure. I'm watching it kind of close. I don't know what's going to come of it, but we'll just flash this on the screen here very quickly because, you never know. It could make a factor in the game. To me, it almost might kind of neutralize the quarterbacks. Maybe not sure. Let's see here. Bam, there we go. So that's the hurricane coming up the coast. You can see the time. It's going to be there late Saturday and in the morning on Sunday. We don't know when it's going to move out. So we could have some rainy ass weather here come Sunday. So I don't know if that's going to neutralize Josh Allen's ability to throw downfield to Diggs and Knox. But
that's
just
actually
that out there.
That's actually kind of follows up with the question. The Bills, the way they've been designed past couple of years, especially being such a quarterback dominant team in terms of their ability to pass, having so many receivers out there, really getting the ball downfield. You almost forget at times that they're a team that plays in a cold weather, frequently snowing city. Because that's not something you really see until mid to late November and into December and so on. What do you think that something like a good driving rain from a tropical storm, in your own estimation, is something that would hinder this offense, or is it something that you think that they would be able to, with the talent they have and the way they run their schemes and everything? In your estimation, do you think that that would be something that they can get around without much of an issue?
I would have said that maybe after week 1, but with your guys' team, it's like bringing it back to last week with the Bills against the Raiders, they have a horrible secondary, and it's like when I saw that, I think I was really curious. I even said in like my little thing I was doing, I was like, I'm more interested to see the scheme that they're going to do on the offense, because usually you take your strength. Our strength is throwing it, and you're going against their weakness. No matter what's going on, even if they know you're going to do that, that's what you do in football. If your strength is running the ball and their weakness is running the ball, you're not going to pass the ball deep. You know what I mean? And it was nice to see that they kind of still kept more generally neutral, where they did more running. They kept to their guns and did short passes and more safer stuff after that game, where I was interested to see like what they were. It was nice to see that. So I think with that game, if we go in that same game plan, more on the ground, I expect to see a little bit more, probably a little bit more running from Josh if he has to, but he does have the arm to kind of make it through those wins if he sees someone downfield. So I don't think it's going to limit that personally, because in raining games and snowing games, he has the arm to throw against the wind and cut through it and still hit receivers with like on a dime. But I think there's still going to be more short to intermittent routes. Personally, I don't think there's going to be any real deep balls, especially if the wind's howling like that. And it's going to be very interesting because kickers aren't going to be coming out too much. So it's going to be a lot of fourth down conversions possibly coming out or something.
What did you say about the wind? If the wind is what?
Even with the wind going like Allen has the arm to throw against the wind and cut through it.
I was just looking for an excuse to do this. Because as our quarterback is Sam Howell, we just wanted to
Well, that's I think Sam Howell, he's been running a little bit too over there, and he has a big arm and he's tall.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you guys know the benefactors of having someone who can put the ball against the wind and make those throws when he needs to. So, I don't think it's going to limit the chances Josh Allen throws down the field, but I definitely see too many deep balls going down unless someone's
Actually, I'm going to cut you back on. I'm going to cut you back on that just a little bit. We don't know what that's like because until we had Sam Howell, our line of quarterbacks, for the most part, have not had strong arms.
There were EJ Manuel.
EJ Manuel has a stronger arm than Taylor Heineke, or Alex Smith, or Garrett Gilbert, whoever you want to throw out there, So yeah, I had to correct you on that. We don't know what that's like. We're just finding that out.
Yeah, I was saying with Howell, it's like that now he can make those passes downfield. It's a threat, and more than a wish. Like it's floating in the air. It's like, McLaren will grab it out of the air. He got this.
That's right. Say what's up to our guy Jay Martell on Facebook, YouTube. Say what's up, guys. Really enjoying the live. Hashtag HTTC Hail to the Commanders. And our other boy Ryan Elias said late but here, boys. Thank you for joining, Ryan. We appreciate you. Give my best to your wife, Ryan. She lost. Cowboys lost Trevon Diggs today to a torn ACL. You never want to see a guy get injured.
Was it ACL? I thought it was a pec.
No. It was ACL. He tore his Achilles. It's gone.
Achilles. Okay. Even worse. You never want to see that.
Yeah. But if you gotta see it though, no, I was joking.
No,
I don't.
Yeah, you never want to cheer on injury.
But I wanted McLaurin to beat his ass again like he did the last time we played him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I wanted. So,
real quick, just flashing some run stats here. So James Cook, 29 attempts, 169 yards for the audio people who are listening to this on the replay. Josh Allen is your second leading rusher with 9 attempts, 43 yards, followed by Latavius Murray and former Patriot Damian Harris, and then our former backup quarterback Kyle Allen is on the Buffalo Bills. And then moving over to the receiving yards, clearly Stephon Diggs, number one receiver, 20 targets, 17 receptions. That's a great catch rate, by the way. 17 for 168 and 1 touchdown, followed by Gabriel Davis, 8 for 124, and then James Cook. Tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, 9 for 69, and Dawson Knox, 6 for 35. I'm a huge Dalton Kincaid fan. I really wanted him in DC. So I'm kind of jealous you guys got. I really, really liked Kincaid. I think you guys got a
Deontay Hardy just out there catching screens.
Mostly, I think he's going to be more gadget, but we're mostly. I mean, I would like to see him used more than just a punt returner and a kick returner, because he can do more. Like he can do like the, as we say in Bills, like the McKenzie role. You know, the Isaiah McKenzie role, just doing like reverses and things like that, where he's fast and he's quick and he's got decent hands. So it's like, but I mean, we'll see. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that. But we also have a lot. We have a lot of decent talent at receiver. I mean, not too deep, but you know, I think we got good enough. Like I like Shakir personally in the slot, but I mean, you can't beat Kincaid being another slot guy when you're playing 12 personnel. So it's like.
So I'm very biased to the tight end position. I love the tight end position. It's probably my after quarterback, my 7th favorite position on the field, and I've always been a proponent of dual threat tight ends. Not dual as in like, you know, multiple position flex, but I mean having 2 weapons. Think Gronkowski and Hernandez before he went psycho. It's so hard. You can't stop it.
He's always kind of been psycho, but.
Yeah, if they keep Knox, who I believe they just signed last year, and then they drafted Kincaid, that's a recipe for, you know, disaster for a lot of teams if both of those guys come through. But there's only so many balls to go around. We see on this team. But I do have a question for you. So Josh Allen, 9 rushes, 43 yards. Are these designed runs or are these opportunity runs that he takes? Like, how is the scheme of running Josh Allen going so far this year?
Lately, it's been less designed, and I don't mind seeing that, but I don't like seeing that either, because you're taking you can limit them. You're not throwing like 20 out there like you are for like what's his? I always forget his name. Number 1 on the Eagles. I don't know.
Jalen Hurts.
It's like when you watch that game, like last year, anyways, there were so many design runs for him throughout a game. But lately, I've been taking I bet. So I put him. I've been doing unders on him now on all his yards.
Yeah,
he barely ever goes over because they've been throwing more and doing things like that and using the running backs more because their pass is rookie and second year. So with Josh Allen, most of those runs are mostly unscripted. They're barely actually planned runs. But that's honestly, Josh Allen's unscripted runs are usually better than his planned runs anyways.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because usually it's like a team that not that they don't have a spy. It's he sells like he's gonna pass it so bad, and then he's fast and he's big. He'll run over someone or jump over someone.
Yeah,
which I don't like seeing him jump over people, but it's great pictures after the game when he's healthy.
Yeah, fair statement. Ryan says, "Bro, that was the best text I've ever sent to her. But for real, hate the Cowboys, but you hate that player to go down like that. All respect." And our boy Shy Guns, a Packers fan stuck in Chicago, says, "Allen gonna spread that needle this game." Man, you said that last game too, Shy Guns. It's hard to believe what you said.
Shy Guns had us
El Duco awards keep losing over here, man.
Shy Guns said we were going to get basically stomped out by the Broncos, and that didn't happen. So you don't want Shy Guns picking your team.
He kills in fantasy football, though. You definitely want his advice there.
Yeah, but don't get his advice on pick'ems. And if he picks the Bills, that might be a curse on you.
Well, if he picks the spread, that's fine because I don't think Bills are gonna cover the spread this week.
6.5. Yeah, we'll get to the spread here towards the end. We'll get the predictions here. But I feel like the offenses so far are very similar. Where Josh Allen has, 510 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and Sam Howell he's 501 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, clearly 3 less interceptions. But Josh Allen's throwing at a 77% 58% completion rate, where Sam Howell's at 66. And as far as the running goes, you guys are about 204. Excuse me, you guys are sitting at 280 total team yards. We're at 214. Our lead back, Brian Robinson, has 146 yards. Your lead back, James Cook, has 169. So statistically, the offenses are very, very close. Where I want to talk about next is defense. So I skipped right over the defenses. So from a defensive perspective, interceptions, you have two guys with interception. Matt Milano, who I think is a great linebacker, has 2. Terrell Bernard has 1. Total tackles, Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano leading the pack. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, who I think is a great safety, coming in with 10. Sacks is where it looks like the Buffalo defense is kind of lacking. So right now you're only sitting at 2.5. I'm sorry, 3, where the Commanders are sitting at 10 in 2 games right now. So what's the deal with the defense? Tell us about the defense real quick. What's going on with the sacks and pressures, and are you guys able to generate pressure so far this year?
Yeah, that's the thing. We are generating pressure. Like I was texting my buddy who's like a Raider fan the whole game. He's saying, "Oh, this is what happens. The Raiders just close out of something that kind of working and then just go towards the other route." But I go, Jimmy G's looking, even though the pressure, if the pressure was coming that whole game, he was not getting frustrated in the pocket. He was just sitting there and he was letting people kind of flow around him. He didn't step up, step back when he stepped up when he needed to, step back when he needed to. And it's like, seeing that, like, Jimmy G's not. I never hated him as a quarterback. He's had his limitations, but he was looking, even when the pressure was right in his face, he was looking just steady.
Yeah, and
not quarterbacks are going to do that. Even against the Jets, we were getting the pressure, and people were just whiffing on like sacks, or they would get right there, kind of like just miss it. And I'm hoping Leonard Floyd's back for this game, but I can't wait to have this whole defense full with Leonard Floyd on one side, and then, I mean, we have other good players, but Von Miller on the other side, because Ed Oliver's coming into his own now in the middle. We've had a couple good tackle for losses, so that's why I think we're getting the pressure. We're getting back there on them. We're just not finishing on the sacks, which it was a problem kind of last year as well, where the Bills, they were creating the pressures, which is good, which is generally why people don't score as much points, because they're not throwing it deep because we get the pressure there. But when we face a quarterback who can do it like a short pass off, I mean, that's how you beat that. You just dump it off.
Yeah.
It comes close. They're going to make you put the pressure in, dump it off, do a nice little run up, things like that. So,
yeah. Shotgun says you did get stopped, but for some odd reason, you came back 21-3. Yes, the Broncos were up 21-3. We came back.
We're not that bad, Shotgun.
At the end of the day, a win's a win. It doesn't matter how you win. Like Vin Diesel said in Fast Furious, you win by an inch, win by a mile. Winning is winning. But Chad, you alluded to one thing that I'm talking about next is the injury report. So you had mentioned a couple guys being injured. I do want to flash this on the screen very quickly so we can talk about the injury report very quickly.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I was looking early when I was at work, trying to prepping a little for it, and I didn't see the Washington. I didn't see the Commanders yet because they didn't have it posted.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk Bills first, and then we'll go to the Commanders here. So as of right now, so Thursday is usually the big day for injury stats, because usually a lot of the times if you don't practice Thursday, you don't play. And that's not every time, but I know a lot of the time Thursday is like the key day. So right now, James Cook didn't practice today. That's a personal reason, so that's probably fine. Dawson Knox didn't participate Wednesday or Thursday. Like, I feel like that could be a huge detriment. But I mean, you have Kincaid on the other side.
Yeah, he had this a lot last year too, where he's had this back issue, and I'd be more interested to see Friday, because he's been with the team long enough where he's a veteran enough. He's on his second contract now. He doesn't have to play practice the whole week. But if he doesn't get limited on Friday, then I'm definitely I don't think he's gonna play.
Okay.
But I think they can rest his back enough and try to see if he can get some practice in Friday. But if it's that bad, he's probably not playing. And then, I mean, at that point, you wouldn't have a threat of a dual pass attack for tight end, but we have a good fullback at Reggie Gilliam. He's fullback tight end. I mean, he's a big boy, and he can kind of fill in on those 12 personnel roles. I'm sure they're having him practice like that. So I don't think they would go too far away from those 12 personnel sets, but it definitely would limit not having Knox in there. I saw that. I was like, he's had that back. Every once in a while he comes up with a back injury when he gets sore, and I'm not sure how bad it is because I didn't see him come off the field and not play that game. It might have just been kind of like something like where after the game it just was really sore and something like that along those lines. But
yeah. And then for the rest of the list, Jordan Poyer getting the veteran rest, probably not a big deal. Terrell Bernard's limited, looks like with a knee, probably play. Spencer Brown tackle limited. Floyd, like you were talking about, didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. Micah Hyde didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday. Jordan Phillips didn't practice Wednesday, full Thursday. So it looks like the only people in question are probably Dawson Knox. It looks like everyone else might be.
Yeah, I've seen the limited on Hyde and Floyd. Yeah. Okay. Floyd is the ankle, so he still could probably. It depends how bad if it's a low or high ankle sprain at this point. I don't know that. Yeah. I haven't followed that deep into it yet down the rabbit hole, but he definitely limped off, and I think we were up by so much that's why I didn't put him back on the field. So he definitely probably sprained it a little bit. But if it's a ankle sprain, I think we're probably if it's limited and he actually participated today, we should be fine for him.
Okay. Bill, you want to go over our injuries real quick?
Yeah. So right now, the only did not practice for today was Logan Thomas. He had that nasty concussion from Kareem Jackson's dirty hit on the touchdown reception against the Broncos. Heck of a catch. Can't say that enough. We said it last week, and we'll say it again. And then Jackson just leveled him in every way. Now, Deron Payne did not practice Wednesday, but he's upgraded to limited. He had that ankle thing. He limped off the field late against the Broncos, but he even did that under his own power. So I expected that he'll be fine to go come Sunday. Nick Gates, Quan Martin, Brian Robinson Jr., Curtis Samuel, all full participants in practice. Doesn't seem like their injuries or anything major. So we're going into this game pretty healthy, guys. That hasn't always been the case, even this early in the season in previous seasons.
Yeah.
Logan Thomas may be out, but at the same time, that's why we invested in somebody like Cole Turner. That's why you got John Bates that can do the things that they do. Cole Turner, of course, is a significant receiving threat at tight end, and Bates is a nasty blocker who shows some surprising hands at times and sometimes does not. Dropped an easy pass in the Denver game, but then also caught a sideline fly route for 36 yards.
Yeah,
in that same game, just caught a beautiful rainbow from Sam. So I think missing Logan, we can get around that. If Deron's good to go, then that just means everybody else is perfectly healthy, and we should at least be coming into this game without any excuse of we were hurt, blah blah blah. So if nothing else, Buffalo gets a good test against a healthy Commander squad.
Fair. And then shout out to my buddy Dave Razor checking in on Facebook, said tight end on both sides, doesn't look good. Shout out to Dave. His wife is also a huge Bills fan. I was going to text him. I don't know if he's going to tune to the show now tonight. His wife is a huge Bills fan. So
after last game,
just
they're probably going to try to
make sure you tell her no hard feelings. Hopefully the dynamic in your household isn't too divided, especially if
sleeping in different parts of the house.
The Commanders end up pulling one off. So, Chad, moving on to Buffalo or Washington Wednesday, we'll let you go first. But before we do that, this segment, just want to hear what Buffalo will win if they do what?
It's gonna be seem I don't know, like the obvious answer, but if Josh Allen doesn't play a hero ball and plays it safe when he needs to, because I don't care if Josh Allen, if we're down by 10 plus points and he lobs it down there and he gets a pick at the 3-yard line, I'm not going to be upset.
Right.
Because that's a play where I expect it's in his heart. He's going to go for it because he wants to get back and get into the game. But if we're doing it and we're up by 10 points, that's a difference. So if he's playing smart, reasonable football and he's not turning it over, I think that's how he wins this game. Because when you have those turnovers, that's when things start. The defense can get frustrated, and then the offense starts lagging, and like it gets into his head. Even though you're pro, it'll get into your head eventually. And I just need to see him play smart football and just limit turnovers and only risk it when it's necessary. Just you only play the hero ball when you have to, not when you may have an opportunity, but it's not really necessary. And then a bad thing happens and it blows up in your face. That's what I want to see. I want to see, similar to the Oakland game, that kind of, especially with this wind and this stuff coming in, no reason to risk throwing it deep. We can still play 12 personnel, even without Knox. It won't be as potent, but Gilliam's no pushover either. I mean,
and for the record, for the Josh Allen at the Raiders game was very efficient, 31 for 37, 274, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 3 rushes, 7 yards. So clearly he wasn't flustered. He looked like, it didn't seem like he had a lot of runs from the pocket. Your running game, James Cook had 123 yards off 17 rushes. So that sounds like that's the game plan that you're talking about.
I just worry about your guys's front sevens are dirty. So I'm like, they're young, they're strong, they're hungry. I'm just like,
four first round picks. They better 5 actually if you count one of the linebackers. they better be.
Guys, it's one of the weird scenarios where, not that I'm saying you guys are bad enough to get those picks, but you got all those picks and it's same thing. The teams like that, they always lack a quarterback. Now you might have your quarterback and you still have all these defensive picks this year. You're not going to keep probably 2 of them next year because I mean, just cap based, you're going to lose a couple.
Yeah,
it's going to happen, and you're going to have
a lot of cap space.
We got 90 million in cap space. We
have about 40 or 50 million.
But there's 3 big contracts.
Some stuff too. So
3 big contracts: Cam Curl, Montez Sweat, and Chase Young. I don't know if you can afford 3 major ones and still find a left tackle.
So I'm just saying, like,
you get 2 of them easy.
Well, I would say we're going to be asking for some big money, and even all you have a young defense, so it's going to be getting to that point where you have to make those decisions. But I want to see our O-line do good against you guys. If our O-line can handle and Josh Allen plays decent, we win. We should win this game. I think our defense is strong enough to, if we get a lead and a good sensible play, our defense is strong. We get the pressures, and I'm not sure like I haven't like focused on your guys' O-line play. I'm not sure how it's been, but if you guys are going down that early in games, I'm guessing it's not been the greatest.
Yeah.
So
I'll put it this way: our interior line really has proven we thought was going to be the weakness, and it's proven to be the strength. It's the tackles that have been inconsistent, to be mild about it. As far as defending the pass rush. Now, if we do also run, we avoided. I'll put it this way: we went into a more of a traditional West Coast offense in the second half against Denver, where it was a lot more of the short, quick pass game, and a lot less, and also more running the ball, a bit more balanced attack, as opposed to. It seemed like they were trying to drive the ball downfield a little more and pass a lot more. And have a lot more of these, longer developing plays, and the tackles just didn't hold up as well with that.
It was very Kansas City like. That's and once they went to using the pass as an extension of the run, I'm talking about 7 yards or less, completely opened up the running game, and it was over. It was over. But Dev, let's go with you first, man. Washington wins if.
We don't turn it over. Basically, what Chad said, just minimize your turnovers, and you got a shot. And you have a shot.
Fair. How about you, Phil?
Washington wins if they win the time of possession battle by more than what they have. They average 32.33 32 minutes, 33 seconds of possession, which is winning the possession battle. They won it in both games. But I think you got to shoot for over 35 minutes. You got to keep the ball out of the hands of their offense. Their offense is potent. They have a more balanced attack than they have in previous years. So you have to keep the ball out of their hands. So you got to utilize the run. You got to utilize the short pass game as an extension of the run. Possession, possession, possession.
Fair. And I'm going to kind of go the inverse of what Chad said is you just focus on Josh Allen. He is the center of gravity. He's the X factor on that side of the ball. In the second half of our game versus the Broncos, our middle linebacker, Jamin Davis, 19th overall pick from 3 years ago.
3 years ago. No, 3 years ago. 3 years ago. You're right.
3 years ago. They finally started using him as a spy on Russell Wilson. And his horizontal sideline and sideline speed is insane. Don't ask him to cover someone. Don't ask him to do other things. He can pursue the quarterback. And I'm hoping that they use that same technique against Josh Allen and prevent him from doing those, like you said, off-scheduled scrambles where he's just so hard to break down. He's like Cam Newton. He's just a running strong safety. He's very hard to bring down. So to me, if we can neutralize Josh Allen and prevent him from getting out of the pocket, I think we got a chance.
Say off script thing. I'm not sure if you guys watched many of the replay. How dirty has Josh Allen been at throwing those sideline throws?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I always watch them now. Like it's like the last year and this year, he's done already like 3 this year, where it's like his toes almost out and he's just tossing it back, like a touchdown or something. And I'm just like,
him and Mahomes do that very well.
That is,
I think they're out of it.
He gets dangerously close, like inches, like an inch away, like a toe away from being out. And he just like, or it jumps out and he's not touching it and just tosses it over. And I'm like, that's going to bite us, but one of these days. But I still love when it goes good for us, you know?
Yeah. Ryan says, I agree with Phil. If we can run the ball and keep it away from Buffalo, we should be good. Weather being the 12th man. Absolutely. We'll see if that happens. Okay. So matchups to watch for, Chad. What are the certain matchups? You kind of probably already hinted and alluded to a few of them, but are give us one or two, any specific matchups that you think are key to this game?
I think it's gonna be mostly. I think it's gonna be if Dawson Knox plays, tight ends versus your linebackers, like the linebacker. I think like if it's spread out enough and they have to have a spy on Allen, it's going to like thin out the herd in that area.
100% agree.
So things like that, and also another thing I'm watching is. I'll say it again multiple times, probably next 3 weeks, just watching the tackles, Spencer Brown, how he plays against the people, because you guys have 2 good defensive ends on the outside. So how he plays against whatever defensive end he's facing. Because he's, like you guys know, if tackles are a weak point, quarterback's getting, it's not like he's getting flushed out. He doesn't know it's coming. Right. like he may see it and try to flush out, but he's most likely getting leg tackled or definitely losing yards. So it's like interior, you can at least kind of flush and go around, but outside it kind of negates that. So it's going to be interesting how that plays. That's my 2 key like matchups, I think, because I think wide receiver to cornerback wise, I'm not really familiar with your guy. I think that's would be the weakness of your defense is more corners. I think. At least I don't have great knowledge of it, but that's what I've noticed in some games is like the outside corners have some issues sometimes, and I don't think they're going to plan on doing one-on-one on Diggs. But if they do a one-on-one on Gabe Davis and he kind of gets down there, I think I can see Allen throwing even through the wind to try to get to him if he has a good separation from the person behind him, things like that. But that's really like an alternate one. I'd just go with my first 2 just because those are what's on my mind.
Fair. I feel
we'll be the first one to say that our weakness on defense overall is at linebacker, more than corner or safety, which a lot of what you saw like against Denver, they had the 2 deep balls. One of them was a misplay by a young safety, and the other one was Marvin Mims got deep, but a lot else of what Denver did was they managed to get wide receivers lined up on linebackers, and our linebackers couldn't cover, couldn't even challenge. Matchup from I would say to watch. I'm going to inverse what I was just talking about. Our backs and tight ends versus the Bills linebacking core, because the Bills, if you look at it, are a linebacker dominant team as far as their defense goes. The linebackers and Jordan Poyer. But it's, can they successfully pull off a consistent ground game, getting to that second level, and with the short pass game to the backs, to the tight ends against their linebackers, and I'll even throw Poyer again in there, in coverage, who wins that matchup overall? And I think that's going to be key, is because of the nature of our offense, the fact that we do like to spread the ball around, that's always good, but they have backers, they have strong safety, they have players who can help cover that, short to intermediate area before you get to the defensive backs. And if they can come up and stuff the run as well, that's going to make that difficult. So it's going to be our backs and receivers versus, or backs and tight ends, I should say, versus the Bills linebacking core.
All right. What about you, Dev? What matchups? What are the key matchups you're looking for?
I want to see Juiced versus because I think Juice is probably our best defensive back right now. I'm not even gonna lie to you as far as corners go. I want to see
over
him.
Forbes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's got the best ceiling. I'm saying I think he's played the best as of right now. My opinion. I haven't looked at the Pro Football Focus grades, but I want to see the matchups they do with Diggs, who moves around. From what I see in a couple games at receiver, you can see he goes across the formation and they move him around to get him open. They find ways to make him a target, even in games that they're losing, or especially in games that they're losing, probably rather say. So I'm interested in like Forbes, Juiced, and Fuller. I'm anxious to see how they match up against the corners or against the receivers. That's my first matchup. On the opposite side, man, what's the name's coming back? Your corner's coming back, right?
Trey White's been back, and actually we have a rookie out there. Well, not rookie, second year now. Not Bernard. It's shit. I always forget
Neil, Johnson, Jackson, White, Benford.
Yeah. Benford. You know what's frustrating about that? Benford, the 6th round pick, beat out the 1st round pick, and we could have. The frustrating part is we could have had Breece Hall. Breece Hall could have been on the Bills.
Oh,
imagine that.
Running back, by the way.
Imagine Breece. Now y'all got Cook out. I don't have to imagine that.
Having Breece Hall at Cooks, Jesus, that would have been perfect. But
and he wouldn't be on the Jets as well.
Exactly. So, we're coming back healthy. I mean, Dane Jackson, even though he came back in when it was like our secondary, our second team came in, he was hungry. He forced that fumble on one of those plays when they're coming down towards the goal line, and he's not giving up that spot yet to Benford. I mean, obviously Benford still has it, but he's still a good veteran. That's the good thing in the Bills. We have good depth at our cornerback level at most our positions on defense. The one we don't have depth is offensive line, but that's why our defense is so good. It just rotates.
Yeah.
You just rotate people in, and then once Vaughn comes in, God, I cannot wait for that. It's gonna be like.
So for me, the matchups I'm looking to watch, it's really who they put on Stephon Diggs. I wonder if they're going to stick our 1st round pick Emmanuel Forbes from Mississippi State on Diggs, or are they going to put someone like Kendall Fuller
Juice on Juice
or Juice on him? Juice is bigger. He's more physical. He might cover Forbes, but that's a matchup I'm intriguing to watch. And then kind of like you guys said, our defensive front 4 versus your offensive line, because Jack Del Rio, he's not a big blitzer. I think last year we led the NFL last couple years in pressures from the front 4 without even blitzing. So I think he's gotten a little accustomed to that. And then as the beginning of the first 2 games, the teams have exploited that. And then once he started bringing pressure through the blitz, things kind of changed. So I really want to see how our front 4 does versus your offensive line. I think that'll be telling outside of the Stephon Diggs matchup. Who, shout out to Diggs, Maryland. He went to school 3 miles from where I live. I'm a Diggs fan to heart. When he was having contract disputes, I was hoping, his brother was, trying to coax him away, but, clearly didn't happen. He resigned. He's happy. Ryan says Forbes and Diggs, Knox won't do anything with how they're playing with Cam and Slaughter tight end. Opposite side with Defoe, I'm not worried. If both tight ends played, I will be a little bit worried. Because we always have trouble covering tight ends. Okay, let's go into predictions now. So I'm only speaking for DraftKings. They have this matchup right now at a -6.5 for Buffalo. Just lost that. -6.5 for Buffalo, and then an over of 43.5. So Chad, I like to log all the predictions to see how we stand. What's your prediction from a score perspective? And then would you take the over or the under?
I think it will creep towards the over, depending how everything goes game plan wise. Like you said, if this weather comes in how it's expected, I'm going to expect some turnovers on the ground, some fumbles, just with how wet the ball is going to be and how it's going to be nasty out there. So if that weather actually comes in, I can see it just creeping over that over. Probably like a 44, 45. So I could see it being like something like a 24 Bills, like 17-20 Commanders. Things like something like around those lines where but we're not going to cover the spread. I don't see the Bills covering that 6.5. But if our defense comes up strong, we could. But but with this tight of a game and how the weather's going to be, and you guys have a good run attack, and we stuffed, which thankfully Jacob Scott catches for me on my fantasy, but we stuffed Jacobs to -2 yards.
Yeah,
which I think it's because we went up by so much, but still, that's impressive to me just from what we came from last year. So if we can stuff you guys a little bit to keep you guys under 80 yards on the ground, I think we could cover it. But I just think it's going to be a hard-fought battle, a hard-fought defensive battle, and I think it's going to be if the Bills get to 24. That's what I'm saying. I would almost always take the under in this. But for some reason, I see it being more of like a competitive game and going like a 24-20 win or like something around those lines.
Okay.
Like I think that's how I see it right now. I'm going to say 24-20.
Okay,
Just
24-20 Bills. That hits the over by half a point. So over 43.5 at 44, and you got Bills 24-20. Okay, that's fair. I'm very close to you. I'm going with the under right at 43, and I'm going to hit with Buffalo. I have Buffalo 23-20. So Commanders covering, but I have Buffalo winning 23-20. With all things being equal, we don't know about the weather. Clearly, this could change. I'm gonna say weather's gonna be a factor, and I'll say 23-20 Buffalo, but hitting the under by a half point. Phil, what do you got?
Well, I do believe that weather is going to be a factor. But I don't think it's going to be factor enough. It's going to hold both offenses to under their current season scoring average. But I do see this being a 24-22 Bills win.
Yeah,
I'm going to call it a real close one. But yeah, I'm going to say, the difference being, Cheeseman botches another snap in the water and the wind and the rain or something. We miss a field goal 10 yards wide right or whatever, and we, lose the game that way. But, both teams will be a little under, but I think that the offenses are good enough to score some points against each other. I think the defenses are good enough to put the offenses in position to score a little more than one would think. So I'm going to say 24-22 Bills.
Okay, fair. Dev, what about you?
Screw you guys. We're winning. Good guys, man. I don't know where y'all smoking over there. Listen, man. Listen. I think the legend continues of Hal. The legend of Hal continues, man.
All for it.
That's some mojo in the air. I still won't think that we're better than the Bulls if we beat Bills if we beat them. But I think there's some magic in the air, man. I think the rain benefits us.
Yeah.
Because I know they're running more, but they still rely on Josh Allen to win, man. And he also scrambles or runs more than any other quarterback. So I think that he has a chance to put it on the ground. We have very active defensive ends, and the pressure's not going to come off the edge. It's going to come up the middle. And that's a quarterback's favorite escape is escaping up the middle. I'm going that not again. I don't think we're better than the Bills. I just think it's going to be a matchup problem for them, especially if it rains. I think it's a matchup problem where the defense is extremely fast in the back end, pause, and and also very active, up front with Sweat, Young on the edge, and Tez, and I mean not Tez, but Allen and Payne up the middle. We also are the only defense in the league that basically platoons their defensive linemen. I know you're talking about substitution methods. We platoon our linemen. We run 8 deep in starting caliber defensive linemen. Like, and if it rains, that's an asset. Like, guys aren't really thinking about that. I just think it's a matchup issue. I think our linebackers are fast enough to pose a threat and a flush if they do blitz them. And by the way, we blitz more in the last 2 games than I could think we did all of last year already.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching the games, I haven't seen Jamin Davis and Barton blitz. They come in. Now I do see we seem to have these brain farts on defense like against Denver where I guess one guy doesn't know we're in a cover 3 when the corner blitzes and he runs to the sideline, at least somebody wide open. I see that happening a few times. If that happens, we're going to lose. But
we'll exploit that.
Yeah, there's some. I don't see the Bills walking it up the field on us. Is what I'm saying. If it's like 4 or 5 big stupid plays somebody's messing up bad on, okay, got us. But I don't see them walking up the field, especially if it rains. Think of the Jets game, man. The Jets had no business being in the game with the Bills. If you've seen them in the second game, you're like, there's no way this Matt guy plays quarterback and play. If you don't think if they beat the Bills with that dude, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, any given Sunday. I will say this.
I don't think the Jets. I mean, the Jets got a superstar, probably caliber receiver, and the rest of them dudes I don't even really know. You know what I'm saying? Like Lazard's okay, but they're not like we got Dotson and Samuels. I mean, they're at least number 2s on most teams.
Well, let me say this. Here's the other key matchup. I didn't bring this up because I talked about the biggest matchup. The other one is how if our defensive line does what it tends to do against mobile quarterbacks lately, which is they don't play if they don't get that initial push, they don't keep pushing. They disengage and play the quarterback. So if Allen wants to run, he isn't going to have an easy lane because someone over pursued. They get that initial push. If it's there, they keep going. If they don't get there, they disengage and they play the quarterback's next move, which does mitigate some of the scrambles they can get. And that's how one of the reasons why we got 7 sacks on Russell Wilson, who is no slouch at scrambling the ball either.
We had over 4 guys, all 4 guys over the 7 pressures. 4 guys had 7 pressures on the starting line.
Dev, spit out your prediction.
I don't think that stops. That changes. I'm going.
What's your prediction?
Man. I'm going. If it rains, especially, I'm going 24-20 us. I think we'll get a defensive touchdown.
Fair. Okay. So just to recap, I'm going to put this in the chat here. Chad's going 24-20 Bills. I'm going 23-20 Bills. Dev's going 24-20 Commanders, and Phil's going 24-22 Bills.
Hey, Steve, my 7-game prediction is going to the shitter, bro. I completely.
I'm sticking true with mine. Deuce says, Red Zone in the Lab. Shout out to Deuce from Red Zone in the Lab. Please go check out his YouTube channel or redzoneinthelab.com. Says, weather's a factor. Take the ball out of Josh's hands. And he's got another close game, 22-18 Commanders. That looks like that hits the under right at 40, with the under being 43.5. I'm sure that line's going to change if they get more weather confirmed.
Yeah, if it's sunny and dry, we'll get blown out.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for the weather at this point.
Yeah.
But okay, so we got three for the Bills, and Dev is the lone Commanders.
Go in for the Commanders. I don't want to be a clean sweep Bills because that's bad. That's bad juju right there.
It always is, right?
In that case,
but I would say be careful. Be careful when you guys try to rush Josh Allen too much and blitz him. He plays great against the blitz because once you start over pursuing, those lanes open wide open for him to get those 15, 20-yard runs where he can just slide down and not get hurt.
Well, perfect for us is we don't have to blitz. You know what I'm saying? That's what the benefit of us is. We don't have to send 5 or more. We don't have to because we got 4 guys who've all been to the All-Star game on the front defensive line. All 4 of them.
No, I understand. I'm just saying if you guys are going to try to throw something else in there, that's when usually Allen plays very good. So he plays decent. Okay. It's mostly sometimes he gets blindsided by like a corner blitz, but that's is very rare when that happens.
One of those against Arizona
flushes out and kind of then he makes one of those wild passes down the field and gets like 60 yards for some reason. So it's like,
yeah. So far this year, dealing with it's funny because this, like I said, this is PFF. I like PFF. It's definitely what can we call it? It's subjective, but they do have a good stat which I'm trying to pull up here. It's when they talk about pressures, quarterbacks' performance under pressure, and I'm trying to pull it up here. Just bear with me for a second. I'm interested to see where Josh Allen stands. So they have it under pressure. Let's see here. The key here, TWP, turnover worthy plays, adjusted ADOT, BTT, looking for big time throws. Either way, so right now they have Josh Allen under pressure. Looks like for turnover worthy plays, these aren't really going to tell me anything. These numbers are way too early, so it's hard to tell. But as the stats and as the season goes on, these numbers would be more telling because I think that's what you're saying, Chad. Is who else performs very good under pressure is Kirk Cousins. He's one of always the NFL's best quarterback performance under the blitz, under pressure. It's just a metric that gets overlooked a lot.
Yeah, as long as it's a 1:00 game,
Very true. Yeah. Don't ask him to do anything in
times.
Yeah.
Time Kirk comes out.
Yeah. We got another comment. Jay Martell has Commanders 26-20. Book it. Damn it. All right. We will see. I'm putting a damn it next to it. We will review this when we do the post-game recap on Monday night. And we'll see how we all did when it comes down to it. But yeah, good stuff across the board. Hey, Chad, we put on our farewell music here. This has been a fantastic time. Always a pleasure getting to talk with someone from the opposing team. We don't do it enough personally on our show. We're not the experts on the other team. That's why we bring on people like you who can educate us and our listeners on what we can expect from the Bills coming on Sunday. Weather might be a factor. We'll see. But yeah, take this opportunity. Where can people find you, or where can people find your content for future consumption?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I have it's Bills, Bets, and Beers. I messed up at the thing I was putting in. I was like, I don't know how to edit it. I can't do it. But it's Bills, Bets, and Beers. Right on YouTube, I'm coming towards like that 100 video mark where I was doing 4 videos a week. I do a lot more like I cover like Thursday night football, like Sunday night football, Monday night football. Like I did all that last year where I put like $1-2 bets down where it's high risk. It's low risk, high reward, where like you put $2 down and win $200, things like that.
That's awesome.
So like you just have to know how to play the parlays, and like especially like a extended parlay where like if you guys haven't done this through DraftKings yet, their no sweat bet parlays are up to $10 now on DraftKings.
Oh, nice.
So they boosted it from 5 last year. So I put one down for the Giants. I haven't had a chance to look at this stuff, but I'm sure the Giants are getting their ass kicked. So
17. So I was going to bring that up.
Here on the 28th.
What's up, Deb?
Gambling's league here on the 28th.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Really, it's 17-6. Niners at halftime. Brock Purdy is on the show right now.
I almost put a +10 like differential from like 49ers at halftime.
All right, it's only at 11.
But yeah, so I do like little bets, things like that, where I just share my opinions and things like that on bets. And I usually put like, when we do a thing tomorrow, I'll if you want to put like a parlay together, if you want to think about something, I'll just say what you. I'll put what I'm putting out there. That's why I like Thursday, Friday videos, because then the parlays are actually reasonable. When you do something on like a Wednesday or a Thursday, they're so bad that it's like you really stretch it and do a 4-leg.
Yeah, makes it tough.
So, I usually do two per game when it comes to Bills, like just trying to hit all different type of personnel to see what kind of clicks. But yeah, I do tons of content like that. I do have like an Instagram, the same thing, like Bills, Bets, and Beers and things like that. I haven't been posting too much on there, but I try to do some like YouTube shorts and things like that for game day, because like I'm a season ticket holder, so I do go to games. I'm going to the Miami one this year. So.
Phil has an OnlyFans, man. It's at Husky Muscle. If you're interested.
You seem to visit my OnlyFans more than I do.
I was a fan of you, Phil.
Got my record going for me, so.
Chad's we'll put Chad's YouTube channel description. It'll be down in the description of this video when it's all said and done.
Now I got a question. Since you're a season ticket holder, which means that you go to a lot of games, how many tables have you gone through?
Actually,
why is that a thing too? Explain that.
0, only because I only started my first game I went to. Because our first game I went to when I came back from, I think when I was overseas over in Japan, and it was like when I was like more towards actually when I had my first kid already, so it's like I was like 24, 25 when I went my first Bills game, so it's like, and ever since then I would bring my dad and my friend, and my dad passed away, so I still once a year, and I liked going once a year. I bring my brother, my friend. And then I looked at the season tickets. It was like $900 for one season ticket for all 8 games. It's like, so you're averaging $100 a ticket.
It's not bad.
And then even when it came to playoffs last year, I thought I'd be, I'm averaging like $200 or $300. It was $125 for the first game. And then the divisional was it was $100 for the first one, and divisional was $125. And you have 9 months to pay these things off. And I just split it for my brother. It's only $100 a month. And I'm not going to any of these primetime games this year. I did that. I wasted my leave time, my
yeah.
Where are you at in Japan?
I like tailgating and doing all that stuff. Like if we go to that, me and my brother slam like 12, like more towards 16 beer mark a piece before and everything, and we do it Gimpy and all that fun stuff. But it's like, it gets to a point where it's just too much with having a family now. So it's like, I'd rather just sell those tickets off and go and save my money for like when the playoffs come, if the Bills get it, like if the Bills host like they did last year. So that's what I go for now. But I'm definitely going to that Dallas game. You bet my money I'm going to that Bills Dallas game. It's gonna be awesome.
And y'all better.
What branch of the military are you in?
I was in the Marines.
Okay, my sister's in going to Japan next month. She's in the Navy.
Yeah, she'll be around the same base up there.
Yeah, this will be her second time.
Yeah, she'll be up by, it's not Futema. She'll be either with the Marines Futema or like I forgot the Air Force base that hosts all the branches out there. But there's
it's Zema.
Yeah, Futema is the one. It's the Air Force base.
Camp Zema, isn't it? ZAMA.
No, it's Pasadena
Or is it in Okinawa?
Yeah, I was in Okinawa. That's where I was. So if she's up towards like the top, it's different. Mainland, it's a little bit different. But I was in Okinawa. But yeah,
Kadena?
it's amazing. If you ever get a chance, go.
Misawa or Kadena? It's one of those two. I don't know which one of those. One of those.
Kadena, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I used to go over there when I wasn't supposed to, and just say I lived in the towers. And one day I walked out of the store with like 430 racks for a weekend party, or you could buy bottles of liquor. You know, you weren't supposed to have them. You got rid of them by the time the people came to check. You know, so
those Marines, man.
Oh, dude, I can't. I literally blacked out. Like to me. I was young and dumb. It was a competition to see how much more I could drink.
Right.
Where like throughout a Friday, Saturday, I would drink a whole 2 bottles of a normal bottle of Captain to myself. Two of them. One of them. I finished the bottle myself. Like it got aggressive I just quit. I just kind of went off it a little bit more because I was like, yeah, that's a little heavy. But that's how it was. I mean, I never drank. I never really partied before I went. So that was my college experience. And now I don't touch this shit no more. That stuff's gone.
Steve was in the army as well, so he's done his
that's
adventures.
Done my fair share.
I'm not sure if you guys like IPAs.
No,
but
I like them in moderation.
He's a bourbon guy.
If you ever tried Voodoo Ranger, I'm telling you, I talked to my sister-in-law who hates beer. She loves this thing.
Yeah, I hate beer.
9.5%, and it. I'm telling you, these I forgot. They're like hazy IPA.
Yeah,
they go down so smooth, and this one especially, it tastes like a fruit punch. That's what it is. It's fruit punch IPA.
Fruity. Okay, very cool.
Check them out. I'm telling you, you can get like that can like.
We have Flying Dog is from where I live, so we have a lot of Flying Dog in this area. Big IPA company, Flying Dog Brewery, very very good.
But I'd rather do like one of those cans. It's 9.5% at a 20 like a pint.
Yeah.
You got to do that table thing, by the way. Don't chicken
Jay
out.
Says Chad gets put through a table.
Sounded like a chicken. Now that I know you defended this country.
Hi, Phil.
Man, I'm 30 years old now, but I'll go through a table. I'm scared.
You gotta do it, man. In order to be a Bills fan, you got to do it, man.
Why is that a thing? Like, how did that? What is the significance of a table?
I think it just started because, like, even though the Bills have been after that era, they've been kind of like up and down, more down than up.
Yeah.
The Bills fan, I'm telling you, see the difference between Bills and other teams is the Bills have the luxury of like Orchard Park is not like a city, dude. It's like if you've ever been up towards Buffalo for a game, and throughout the years, the tailgate experience, people like there are parking options in people's yards from like blocks away, like multiple blocks away from the stadium, and like people are just parking in everyone's yards, getting drunk as shit, just walking up, and they're literally filling their lawns and ruining their lawns throughout the whole football season for this. And it's like it's different than a city where like it's like at the Bengal Stadium, even your guys' stadium. It's so like everything's parking lot.
Yeah.
This is like you have backyards, parking lots. They just got rid of the other lot that the Bills did a lot of, like where they did the mustard and ketchup and stuff over there. Mm-hmm. They just turned that into a parking lot for the employees over there because they sold it out for like I think it was over. No, it was expensive what they sold that property out to anyways. But there are other spots where they have good tailgating where like you can literally there's so much tailgating and drinking going on in that area. It's wild. It's like a college game.
And to see guys with their shirts off in December.
And people
it's kind of crazy.
People are still breaking through tables in all those parking lots, in all those yards, like they're jumping off of freaking their campers. I'm telling you can see it just walking through, and it still happens now. So what I'm saying is like I think it happened because eventually, like the team wasn't doing great, and they just decided let's just step it up a notch. Like we are the one thing you can't say about the Bills fans is they're not devoted. They stayed throughout all those shit years,
Very
and
true.
they've had very good season ticket selling most of the time, and they usually pack the stadium. It's not like with like the Jacksonville Jags where you barely see anyone in the stadium and things like that. Like all the losing years, the Bills generally had good
Still packed. Yeah.
good filling seats of their own fans. So it's like it's something. It's just interesting. I think it was something to pass the time,
Yeah.
where they decided like let's show out, let's be crazy, let's enjoy our time in tailgating. We're not winning much, but we're enjoying watching the game and coming to the game. And I think it stemmed from that, where it was just something else to do. And then once it probably at that point it started, I think it was early. I think the table breaking started early 2000s towards 2000, towards the mid 2000s area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right, maybe like late 90s. But it was like
Marshawn Lynch days. It was earlier than that.
it was not. Marshawn Lynch was in there in 2008. He was on the team. So like around that, like we're like social media where like you're filming stuff and putting online. I think that kind of just built that's when Bills Mafia was born. Like there was no Bills Mafia really before that. So it kind of built that thing up. And you know how social media is. Once you start doing that, you have to keep doing it. So it's like I wouldn't jump off an RV and go through a table now, because if I do that and I miss, that's a long hospital visit. So
Yeah.
I was like maybe 20, 21. I wouldn't care, But I got stuff around. I got porches and things, and I think I can go through a table if I want to. The big problem is just me finding a table on Facebook Marketplace that's cheap enough to break. That's worth it.
That's right.
You guys got dude, groceries to $300, $250 to $300 a week nowadays.
Yeah.
So money's getting thin towards certain parts of the month. So
For those of you in watching this, and you'll understand the process, Bills fans do not use Japanese tables. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll understand the reference.
Tables must be the thin ones. Phil used to be a professional.
No. Japanese tables don't break.
Oh,
Tell them your name.
it's like the Japanese steel cans. They don't crush, dude. They don't. You can put your whole weight on it and weigh 200 pounds. That thing's gonna keep you sturdy. You've seen kids almost break their heels trying to put these things down. We're like, I can do it. It's like, nah, dude, this is solid steel can, dude. That's
what kind of material you can make when you don't have OSHA.
yeah, no safety regulations to stop you from doing certain things.
Yeah,
right.
It's like kryptonite.
Vending machines out there. I saw beer, cigarettes, anything you want in vending machines. Everything, man. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even ask you for your age. There's no even verification.
In fact, one of my favorite YouTube shows is just this dude. He's an American dude who lives in Japan. He just goes around finding all these cool vending machines and making these really good gourmet, I say gourmet air quotes, but they're vending machines and they're 7-Elevens. You can find
all the 7-Elevens are bomb. And plus, I took a flight from Tokyo to Okinawa. I literally bought, like, they're called chew highs. They're like almost a Four Loko, I guess, in a sense, or like at that point it was like a Four Loko of like Japan, for like 8-9% little cans of stuff.
It's like the vodka smashes they sell here.
They do those at little 7-Elevens, and their food is amazing. But you can grab those. I grabbed 6 of those and just drank it on a flight back. It was only 2 hours. They didn't care what you brought on. They're like, so you got, okay, cool. You can bring your beer right on the plane. I was like, thank you. I'm gonna drink this on the.
I've had 2 eyes. Those things will sneak up on you. Jay Martell.
Dude, like you have a couple. Like I remember when I went to Tokyo, we went from, I was out at Mount Fuji area, in the snowboarding area. We dragged our bags down the little area to get to the bus stop, because all we had to do was be at the airport in the morning. There was no rules. So we took the bus all the way down to the train, and we got into Tokyo by midnight. We got some food, walked out, and we found a club by like 2:30 in the morning. This shit closed at 7. I'm like, it's ridiculous. Like, and it's like they don't sleep in that area. But obviously that was Shibuya. That's more of a party city. They got different districts in Tokyo. They got the shopping, they got the party, they got the technology. They got all different districts in Tokyo.
Yeah.
But that was the party district, dude. Like, no joke. They're like, you walk out. It's like 7 a.m. Like, we went to the hotel to held our bags for like $1 for the night because it was like U.S. military friendly place. They held our bags for $1 for the night.
I wish our buddy Yam was still on here, who lives in Japan right now. He's an American who teaches in Japan. I wish he was on there.
And the difference out there with kids and stuff, just in Okinawa, I went and did like this, like helping kids out with English and things like that.
Yeah.
These little kids know English pretty well, and they're like little 6 and 7-year-olds, and they're talking like better than some of our 6 and 7-year-olds. And it's like, it's like and they go to school 6 days a week. You see,
crazy.
On the weekends, you see little kids
6 days a week.
for baseball crap, like baseball practice and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like, when do you guys get a chance to relax?
Yeah.
Like
normal. So many hours in a day.
Watch TV on a Saturday. Like morning.
They're running out the house with a toast in their mouth.
Our buddy Jay says, reference the tables. They don't break. If you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, you'll know why.
I told you, Japanese tables don't break.
Sounds racist when you say it, Phil.
We're just talking.
It's not racist when I say it. Because I'm a fan.
All right. We're going to shut this one down. We want to thank Chad sincerely for coming on to this show. We will be on his show tomorrow and return the favor, and we'll talk some Commanders on Bills, bets, and beers tomorrow night. So please, the Chad's YouTube channel will be down in the description of this channel once we're all said and done here and this thing uploads. And
my first, I haven't done a live one, but I'll do a live one for this. Is like, I don't got many people who follow me, so I don't.
All good.
I'll put a live, so like you guys, if they want to comment and stuff on it, they can, and so they can follow along with us.
And we'll share it across all our socials too, so we can get some people in the chats here and get
to do it. And every time there's a Bills game, it's like my wife's working like all weekends now, so it's like I can't just pause live and say, hey man, my kid needs me to walk into the bathroom real quick because I don't know, he watched a scare video and he gets scared. You know what I mean?
Right. That's one of the reasons why we don't go live either. Man. A lot of people in our community, they love to go live during game days. It's just hard.
I would love to, but I realize when I'm watching the game, I'm more just like, it's either full antics or I'm just sitting there like zoned at the screen being like, please do something positive.
Or you're there in person. So it's tough.
Exactly.
Totally get it.
And there's no signal in stadiums. People don't know that. There's literally zero. There's so many phones in an area, you have like almost no signal, it seems like.
I will say one of the things the Commanders have gotten great is improving that. Now they've partnered with Verizon, and at least at FedEx Field, the signal strength in the stadium is so much better than what it used to be. Like Phil can tell, you could barely pull up your digital ticket and scan it in, but we went to opening day. It was amazing.
You always empty your wallet, because if you don't, you might as well walk back 100 feet to grab the ticket you had.
Yeah. Straight up. All right, we're going to shut this one down. We want to thank Chad for coming on. As always, you can catch us on YouTube. If you're watching this, please hit the like button or dislike. We don't care. It'll help the channel grow either way. You can also find this podcast on any of your audio podcast platforms. Please make sure you go check out Mark's channel. We'll be on there tomorrow night. And we'll be back Monday for the post-game breakdown of whatever happens on Sunday versus the Buffalo Bills, who are favored by 6
invite.
We might have to reconvene on Monday and talk about this, Chad, for sure. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chad, for joining us. You can catch us on this channel tomorrow, and we'll catch you guys on Monday. And don't forget to tune into our live game thread in our Facebook group. Watch the Football Addicts. We'll be there. Stay tuned. We'll see you on Monday. Peace and hail. We're out.